What happens when you get two guys from the street who absolutely love to eat and give them a license to rant? You get your hosts, John Peasy and Mikey Sausage.
Yo, Johnny boy, what's going on?
Mikey Sausage, what's happening?
Happy Mother's Day, buddy.
I'm not a mother.
Oh, you're a mother.
Oh.
Hey, can we hear him?
No, they can't hear him. He's allowed to say anything he wants.
Rob is cursing. There's a woman in here, and he's still using bad language. What's wrong with this guy?
Rob is a woman.
Now, Rob Hix is a Christian, too, right?
He's a Christian. He's cursing Christian.
Yeah, I'm cursing and everything.
Yeah, but they can't hear that. They can't.
So,
By the way, when you call me a mother, they know exactly what cursing is, right? It's no Fellini to figure that out.
Yeah, Fellini. What did you do for Mother's Day today, Mr. Peasy?
I've had a very stressful, actually, day because I went to bed at 3 a.m. I got up 6 hours later, and we all went out for Mother's Day brunch, which was very nice with the family. I had a really nice time. Actually, we went out to an Italian restaurant with a big buffet. I overate. Wait. So you went somewhere and you overate. Is that something that's like something new? Well, yeah, it's kind of new, especially at 9 a.m. because usually at that time I'm like, actually, it was good though. It was a really nice buffet, and it was in Rahway, New Jersey, which is a place I don't really go, but it was really good. I had a great buffet with the family, had a good time, and then I ran out to do a show at 2:30 in Avenue J and Ocean Avenue in Brooklyn for an Orthodox parade for Jewish Orthodox people. And it was on a stage, and you could go on my Facebook page and you can see the picture of there's like 1,000 kids and families out sitting in chairs to see the show.
In the rain?
Well, and it was beautiful out until I started my show.
That's what happened.
To rain a little, and the guy said, "Just keep going. Don't worry about it." I'm like, yeah, okay. I'm standing there with the puppet, and we're getting dripped on, and I'm talking with the dummy, and then suddenly it starts to get really rainy. I mean, like the wind starts picking up, it starts blowing, and suddenly,
like the Wizard of Oz.
it was like fast. It happened really fast, and I at one point, I'm like 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes of the show. And I'm like, I just said, I have to stop. I'm sorry, folks, we have to take a break because everything was really like blowing major. And I put the puppet down, and I see my equipment all getting soaked, the speaker, the music player, the levitation trick, the puppets, everything's getting, the wall you throw the knives at, the knives, it's soaked. And I just decided, hey, I got to stop. And so I'm like a sewer rat. I'm taking everything and rushing and bringing it into the car. And trying to get they had this big backdrop behind the stage with the Orthodox rabbi's name and the Chabad and all this stuff. And the wind came and just broke it and snapped it down. And everybody's rushing about. I get everything in the car. I'm drenched, totally drenched. And 5, 10, 15 minutes later, sun comes out. It's beautiful. It's like the best day in your life. And I'm soaked. My hair's soaked. My body's soaked. My animals, the birds, rabbits, everything's soaked. I decide to I'm going to go home and dry off all my equipment and get ready for this show. And the guy says, would you mind going back up now? And I'm like, everything's away. It's all wet.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, so it was and I came home and dried it all out.
So you went to a very religious thing, and you had bad things happen to you. So you better start thinking about that a little bit.
Well, he promised me, the rabbi said when he booked it, I said, I don't usually do shows outside. That's not rain or shine. And he said, well, we're Jewish. It doesn't rain us. We'll pray. So apparently it worked until the goy came up.
That's what happened. They were saying, screw this guy.
Once they hired the goy next door, it's over.
So now.
How was your Mother's Day?
Well,
I don't know.
Today was, they want me to barbecue today, believe it or not.
The Sausage King.
Yeah. So I went there and I picked up everything, went there and I barbecued. I made hamburgers and hot dogs and sausage and London broil and chicken. And forget about it. Oh, my daughter wanted ribs. I made her ribs and she loved them. And we had so much food, and then we had the cake and the fruit and the nuts.
The whole thing.
Oh my God. It was crazy.
You like I, we're both bloated Mother's Day recipients.
Yeah, but I'll be hungry again later.
Yeah, me too. I'm getting hungry right now.
I told you I have a problem.
Yeah, I have a problem also.
Now, I'm
For
ready.
two guys that like to eat.
I'm ready.
I'm ready too. I'm very excited.
I know you're very excited.
I'm super excited. We have
Right up
guests
your
coming up
alley.
in the next few weeks. We have some celebrity names, big names.
Uh-oh.
But I am more excited, and I'm not discounting this woman.
Right.
But I'm more excited with this woman. I called her about asking her to be on the show,
Right.
and I got along with her so well. We spoke for over 2 hours. She's a pleasure and a delight to speak to,
Oh.
and I think a little creepy too on some level.
She's creepy?
Well, the nature
That's
of what
not
she
nice.
does.
That's not nice.
No, she's very nice. The nature of what she
I hope
does.
she has a sense. I hope she has a sense of humor.
Oh, she does. She really
you
does.
better hope that she can't put a spell on you.
Maybe she can. A spell not to eat that much. I would like that.
All right. What's the young lady's name? And let's get her in here.
Well, this is first of all, what is she?
What is she?
And this is the first question we want to ask her. She's a medium.
A medium?
Yes, a medium. And
I'm a triple X.
yeah, apparently, yeah. Because the old joke was I dated a medium, but she turned out to be an extra large. But no, it's not like that.
That's-
But her name is Barbara Lee.
Barbara Lee.
Barbara Lee.
Is she
And-
any related to the car in that, what was those two guys that had that car, the show on television? The General Lee.
I think you're thinking of Sandra Lee,
No,
the cake.
look at, no, General Lee. Okay, Barbara Lee, she's a neighborhood girl?
She's a local Jersey person, and everywhere she goes, she sells out. She does a lot of nights where she comes in and reads people's past life. I guess more like mediumship. With
Are you guessing?
Well, I like to let her answer these questions because I'm not that smart. I'm a comedian. What do I know?
All right, Mr. Hix, let's bring Barbara in. Okay, he's pointing. Hey, Barbara.
Hello. Hi, guys.
I wanted to bring you in before John, had you working at McDonald's also. So,
Before I hijack what I think she does.
so maybe you can tell us a little bit about what you do and how you do it, or anything that who you are and what you do.
And I'd like to, and Barbara too, I'd like to get a definition, if you will, of the difference, because this is a lot of things that people don't understand. The difference between a psychic and a medium, which is you're known as psychic medium, but is there a difference between them as well, defined?
Yes, I'm a certified psychic medium. The difference is a psychic can connect with your future, but a medium can connect with the deceased loved ones. So your past, present, future, and the other side. So all mediums are psychics, but not all psychics are mediums.
That's it. Now, see, that's the difference. Now you're a psychic and a medium, which means you're doing both.
Correct. About 10% of the psychic industry are mediums. 90% are just psychic. So it's a specialized ability for you to be able to connect with the other side. That's why the readings are so accurate, because you're getting it from the source. You're getting it from deceased loved ones.
So but the psychic sees the future. So did the future happen already? I mean, try to help me understand that a little bit. Like, seeing into the future. I mean, just like, help me understand that a little bit.
In other words, Barbara's saying she could have predicted you were overeaten.
But she wouldn't be much of a psychic.
Me either. That's a good question. That's a good
What
question.
you got to do is look under here. So
Well, the future obviously hasn't happened yet. And actually everybody has this ability. So everybody has an ability to have dreams that come true, to have feelings that come true. But, in my case, it's documented and it's proven out. So
it's more intense.
It's more intense.
So basically, I'm off camera. Maybe Rob can put us up. Thank you, Rob. He's very fast on the switch. So basically, when I had that thing, I said, man, I think this happened before. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, that's deja vu.
Yeah, that happens to me a lot. Like, I swear this happened to me already, or we were here already. I was at this place and I was never there. But, is that something that you're talking about?
No, that's deja vu.
Okay.
It's a complicated subject matter, but basically everybody is a psychic. It's just You know, some people, like artists, some people can draw stick figures only, and some people are Monets.
Okay.
So I happen to be more tuned in to giving, you know, things.
So I'm more of a crayon guy.
I'm laughing at the deja vu thing because, like, you're eating real Parmesan for breakfast and eating that for dinner, going, boy, I could have swore I just had this.
So what are you gonna do, PZ? You want to start at the top, I guess, right? How she found out she had this, right? That's one of your popular questions.
Well, I'd like to know the beginning of this because I've read a lot of books about some of these mediums and psychics, and some people say they're always born with it and it's being held back and it's in the family bloodline. Barbara, how did it begin with you? How did you know that you had some ability, and when did it begin, and how did it grow?
Yeah, first of all, I just want to say that I'm a huge skeptic in this industry. So, but what happened to me personally, I was born and raised in Brooklyn from a left brain, negative family who wouldn't believe in anything. But my father died when I was 16 months old. I was lied to for 38 years on his manner of death. I was told that he died of a heart attack, but then I found out later there was a suicide connection. And now currently I'm investigating a whole mystery to really what happened to him, which will be in my book. But my mother died 2 weeks before 9/11, and I actually dreamt of 9/11 before it happened. That was my epiphany. That was my aha moment. Then after that, I was able to walk into stores and restaurants and places and pick up on people, the general public. And so that's when it really blossomed right after 9/11.
Then are you saying that it didn't really, like, you think you had the ability, but it didn't actually hit you until that 2 weeks before 9/11, where like that opened up a catalyst for this to all begin?
Yes, but there were certain moments in my life that I could recall, like the first car accident I got into, I dreamt 3 days before that I went through the windshield, and I have a scar on my face, you know, proving that 3 days later I did go through the windshield. Then I would have dreams of trips that I would take to San Francisco, California. The next year I was in San Francisco, California. That wasn't even planned at the time. So this happened time and time again throughout my life until I said, oh my gosh, they're trying to tell me something here. Something's going on. And that's when I realized it.
And who's there trying to tell? Who do you believe that is?
Well, everybody has a path. Everybody's a soul, and they have a path in life. And I believe we're guided by the other side. And I believe that that's what happened to me, that I was supposed to be doing this all throughout my life. And I wasn't listening to it because I had the dreams that came true and I had things that happened. I would know things as a child instantly about people, their emotions, their feelings. And then when 9/11 hit, it was like, well, how could you have this dream and then it happens and not say something's going on here?
Right.
So that's what happened to me.
Now, this is interesting too, because when you think about this, when I think about it, I wondered to myself, and do I have any of these abilities? Am I not listening to myself? Am I able to recreate some of the scenario with you that you're having experiences, or am I not listening? Am I closed down? You say we all have it, but just like any innate ability, some people are able to play the piano really well and some people can't, and some people practice their whole lives and can't, and other people are prodigies. So I assume it's that sort of ability has that
correct.
large brush.
There's different degrees, and you have to pay attention to the inner voice. Everybody has an inner voice. So I'm sure that there's come a time in your life where you said, you know what, I really felt I should have done this. And then you realized you didn't, and it didn't work out because you didn't listen to that voice. My voice happens to be louder from dead people, but and it's actually not a voice, it's a thought that pops up, but same thing. So you need to listen to your gut, not your brain. I grew up very left brain, logical thinking. It's your gut and your heart that tells you what to do.
Well, my gut, I've been overeating with my gut, and my heart's not liking it, according to my cholesterol.
Exactly.
And my path is to the refrigerator. That's my path. So now it's more of a, so when these people pop in your mind that have deceased. Is it more of a picture you're saying? Can you describe? Is it describable?
Sure.
What happens to you?
I hear thoughts. So if you hear, you need a veal parmesan sandwich, that's
right.
Your thought that pops in your head.
Okay.
I hear a thought. It could be how somebody passed. It could be an illness. It could be a name. It could be a date. Or I will see images. I could see, somebody jumping off a bridge, or somebody that, had a broken arm or was burned.
And it's just nondescript. It's not someone that you know. It's just an image of somebody that maybe you don't know. It's just you don't necessarily know. Is it that person, what he looks like coming through, or could it be just random people?
That's a great question. Now, if I'm reading somebody, it would be connected to them, either friend, family, neighbor, coworker, doesn't matter. But it wouldn't necessarily, I wouldn't see the whole body. I would see what they wanted to communicate. So if somebody had an issue with their left side of the body, I may see that there's a problem with the left side of the body, or they have a problem walking. But I can't do this with my own family and friends because I'm not objective, right? I'm subjective when I deal with people I know. It's only with strangers or people I don't know.
Wow, that's crazy. Now, do you ever actually feel anything physically?
Yes, at shows or events or sometimes readings, I actually get sick. So I will actually feel energy, very, very intense, and I'll either feel like I'm going to pass out, or I'll feel, I'll hear something almost like a vibration in my ear, which is strong energy.
Now, is this all the time, or is it in certain instances? Or
No. According to TV, some TV shows, it looks like it's all the time. No, it's not. It's
so basically, you'll feel ill almost, or you just what will you feel if someone passed from drowning or suffocating or something? Do you ever feel that? Do you ever have that? Did it ever make you feel how they felt at the time?
Well, that's actually a good question. There's 3 types of mediums that have dominant abilities, 3 types of abilities for mediums. There's clairaudient, which is hearing dominant thoughts, really. There's clairvoyant, which is seeing more images. Okay. And there's clairsentient, which is feeling. So clairsentient medium would feel the lungs or the breathing. Whereas the clairaudient, which is what I am, the predominant, we all have all 3 abilities, but I'm clairaudient predominant. What happens is I hear most of my things besides seeing and feeling. So that's why the information is so accurate, because they can give names, dates, how people passed, illnesses. If I saw an older female with gray hair and big boobs, what does that mean? That could be 5 different people connected to you. Right. So names would be more specific.
So is that maybe a way of more people that are not on the up and up that get away with that stuff? They're more general, like generalized stuff?
100%.
Okay.
100%.
Now, can you tell if someone's full of it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But the problem in this industry, and that's why I'm such a huge skeptic, is that a lot of people want to hear certain things. You will never hear that from me. It's all about proof, fact. I've helped law enforcement out. I solve crimes of my own, readings with people. So you will never hear from me. They love you. They miss you. They're at peace. If you don't know that before you see me, do not come to me.
Basically, that's what everybody's kind of looking for, right? Just to feel better.
Everybody's looking
just to feel better. Now, psychic medium. So, like, do you ever see bad things and not tell people?
No, that's a great question. If you're of the light, if you're someone who's doing this for the right reason, not for fame, not for money, not for, showing off, what happens is you're going to get information that can help people and prevent things rather than, God forbid, I'm not going to ever say to somebody, you're going to get into a car accident in 2 weeks.
Right.
I can't prevent that.
Correct.
But if I say you're eating too much Parmesan,
right,
and your cholesterol is going to go up, I'm going to tell you better watch. You better go to the doctor.
Yeah, I seen that. There's one girl that I know that she's really good, and she's more of a health orientated. She gets a lot of health information about you, and it's pretty This is like how I found my father's bladder cancer. It was pretty wild.
Yeah.
Is she called a doctor?
No, she's I don't know what she called.
A medical intuitive, Mike.
Yeah, she's very, very, and she's very she's Christian or Catholic, Roman Catholic, and she's very religious, and she's a nice girl, but she gets that right away, and like she'll say like, oh, there's something wrong here, or I see something in this area, you should have this checked out, or you know, and she got a couple of things like, and she helped a lot of people that way, believe it or not. It's really, really crazy. Now, on the other hand, now I'm thinking to myself, well, are you really supposed to stop that? Or is that the path that person's supposed to be on? Are you altering the future?
Great question. No, they wouldn't give it to you if that was the case.
Okay.
So basically the mediums that do this for the right reasons are going to get information to help you in your medical life.
It seems like such a dichotomy, though. It's almost like we have on our shoulder this spirit helping push us in the right direction to do the right things and make the right choices for our growth, and at the same time, it seems so opposite of what life is, the way we live our lives. We're always running from place to place, doing all the things that need to be done, not really focused on our growth as people, but more or less how to survive financially, successfully, die with the most toys. So it almost seems kind of like it doesn't make any sense that there's this good guy on your shoulder pushing you along, trying to get you in the right direction. There's a redundancy to it on some level. Can you tell us why? I don't understand that concept.
Well, we came down to learn lessons. That's what we're here for. This is our school. And if we get information that can help you, there's reasons for that. You need to get to the next level, so to speak. But if there's something you needed to learn, mediums are not going to step in your path and say, well, you can't do this, you shouldn't do this. That's why I say don't ever listen to a psychic or medium telling you what to do. You have to follow your own gut. All the answers are inside our soul. We are just confirming what you already know.
You're saying you're a spiritual therapist.
Well, I don't know about therapist because you would, education goes along with that. But I would say that we're here to open up your mind as to why we're here, why you actually were born, and to find out what path you should be on. What you come down here to do? Because you're obviously not finding that on your own. And that's what we're here to do. Besides confirming your deceased loved ones are around you. They're always connected to you.
And then when I start thinking about deceased loved ones, the first thing that I think about is the levels of where we are and where they may be spiritually. I understand we're here in a physical body, attending a spiritual person, attending a physical body. But where are these spiritual people that pass? And then is there levels of this progression? Do they get trapped in areas? Is it like a matrix or a hierarchy of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Where is the top? Where is the bottom? Where are we? What is the levels that we're all caught into here? And is there any levels?
Well, first of all, the other side is always around us. There's no place that we physically take a rocket and go to on the other side. They're all around us. That's why I can connect with the other side at any time, any moment, because they're right here. They're all around us. When we cross over, we do have levels. And the better you live your life here, the higher you will evolve on the other side. So if you're a Hitler, okay, for example, you're going to be in a lower level, probably with people that are similar to that energy. But if you're a Mother Teresa, you're going to be on a very high level on the other side.
So you're surrounded by your like.
That's almost like Buddhist. That's like almost like a Buddhist type of religion, right? The Buddhists believe how you are in this life is where you are in your next life. I understand that's not how you're doing, but like if you were a bad person, you may come back as like a cockroach in your next life. That's what
what's the matter with cockroaches?
No, but that's what the Buddhists believe. They believe how you are in this life you are in the second one. I don't know. So she's saying how you are here is what level you are after you pass.
Well, wouldn't it make sense though? I mean, if you've really been a good guy the whole way along, would you want to be stuck with Hitler when you're dead? You'd be like, hey, that's the last guy I want to hang with.
Well, you could also grow on the other side. It's not just about this lifetime. We live many, 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 many lifetimes, but we're here to learn certain things in this lifetime.
That reminds me, there's a great joke about dying like that. I'm just thinking now. So do you know this joke? I hate to interrupt this with this joke, but it's actually a good joke. Mother Teresa dies and goes to heaven, and she's up in heaven, and she's walking around, and she sees all these people getting their halos put on, and she doesn't get one. They just pass her through the line, and then she looks and she sees Princess Di, and Princess Di has the halo, and she runs over to St. Peter, goes, hey, St. Peter, what's going on here? I see Princess Di, she has a halo. I'm Mother Teresa, I don't get a halo. What the hell's the deal? And he goes, that's not a halo, that's a steering wheel.
You're crazy. You're crazy. Jesus.
Wow, that's bad.
I think that's hilarious.
Oh, that's bad.
Oh, come on, it's funny.
That's bad.
All right, well, see, I'll be hanging with Hitler. Thank you.
That's bad. You bet your ass.
I understand there's a Facebook, some Facebook questions.
Well, that was just one person. Are we going to get into it later, but how they can get in touch with you and stuff like that?
Okay, we're definitely going to give it all that.
Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
This is interesting too. So that you're saying that there's different levels and there's spiritual levels, and they're all around us. Now, I've read or heard somewhere in a book years ago that ghosts. Now, ghosts is a weird thing to bring up into this. I don't know how it falls into a medium's perspective, but somebody said to me that when people see ghosts, they usually see them floating across the floor. Like, this is the floor, they're above the floor floating around, and they don't have like feet, which means they're in a different level of existence, just above us a little bit, but then they appear physically and then vanish again. Is there any truth to that in your belief?
Well, first of all, anybody can say anything, and I deal with proving things out. So we can't prove anything until we cross over. But I do believe that it's all about energy, and we are in the physical world right now. That's why we have feet, we have, our heads and arms and everything else. But when you cross over, you leave your body through the top of your head, and you are energy, and you're moving at a different vibration.
I wish I could take one of these chins and move it out of my body to a different. Now, let me ask you a question. Obviously, you go to a funeral parlor, or you go to a cemetery, or stuff like that. It's just a stupid question. I don't know if people hanging out in a cemetery that are dead. I mean, they're all dead. But do you ever go to any specific place and get overwhelmed, A, and B, can you turn it off?
Okay, first of all, I mean, this is a terrible thing, but I try not to go to funerals because it's too overwhelming. I don't go to cemeteries. I'm a scary Mary. I don't like ghosts. I don't like any of that stuff.
Okay.
You see ghosts though?
Do I see ghosts?
Yeah.
No, and I wouldn't want to see ghosts. And ghosts are basically ghosts are trapped between this world and the next world. Okay, heaven. Let's call it heaven. Okay. And what happens is they could be trapped because of an incident that happened. Maybe there was a murder. They were murdered, and they're stuck. Or they could be connected to the person. Let's say they didn't want to leave their wife. So they would kind of linger.
Earthbound.
Connected to the house, the wife, the situation. And you're in a loop, but you're not able to accept the white light to move on and cross over. So I'm not a big ghost, person. And secondly, you cannot turn it off. Energy is constant. Einstein's theory.
Must be tiring.
It's not like they communicate with me all day long, because I would be exhausted.
Well, he asked you though, can you turn it on and turn it off?
No, she said no, you can't turn it off.
Can't turn it off.
Now, have you ever gotten somebody that was very persistent that kept staying with you? Even not knowing who they were or what they were, and just showed up one day and
yes.
Waking you up?
Yes. Oh, yes. Last night I had a dream, and I won't get into the details of it because I like to protect my clients, but I had a dream just last night of my name, Barbara Lee, and a skull And I was like, am I going to die? What is this? I get a phone call the next morning about somebody who had a loss.
Oh.
And I said to her, I said, well, that's really weird because I had a dream last night of a small skull in my name. So I knew it was business related. And she said, oh my God. She goes, I have a tattoo of a skull.
Wow.
So that
confirms it for you.
Came to me in the dream. But if this person came, I wouldn't recognize them. So I could have a dream. I had a situation in central New Jersey, an accident. A girl got into an accident. Again, I won't give the details. And the girl, and I said, I felt like I was going to do a reading for somebody connected to this person. And that girl would not give up until somehow these people end up coming to me. It's a long story, but the bottom line is, yes, if they want to connect with me, they know how to find me.
Right.
And somebody will be put in my path.
Really?
Yes, it's not like I sought out the family, because I did not. It was a friend of mine who knew his wife worked with this girl. I happened to talk about it. But
wait a second. That must mean that these spirits that are all around us are able to find a conduit like yourself in order to project this through to get it to the living.
Correct.
So in other words, you must be like a beacon of light amongst the dead. To say, hey, come over here. This chick can help us speak to, whoever needs the information.
Yes. And again, it's hard to prove this out, but I understand it as mediums or people that are super tuned in with energy have a blue light connected to them, so they know who to seek out. But, when we cross over, we're enlightened. So it's a little bit different than here, where we don't know too much down here. When we cross over, we know that. That's how they're able to pass the information on to me about somebody's future or about a medical issue.
So that people in your family that passed on, you cannot get contact with them at all?
Probably a good thing, right?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so that differs a lot from a lot of people, because now are others in your field able to do that? Or you think that if they're saying that, that's a bunch of bull?
Well, the people that are legit, the very few people in this industry that are legit, I don't know what they say. I know what I say. Okay. Because I like to give the truth. I'm all about the truth.
But couldn't that be in just your particular instance, in your gift, that someone else maybe has that ability to receive a message from someone in their family, or your feeling is no?
Well, it's like a surgeon. You can't perform surgery on yourself. You're not objective. Okay. Enough to do that. I know my mother's name. I know my father's name. I know their dates. I know everything. So how could I? But you know what? My mother does give me signs.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I do get signs, and it's funny because right after 9/11, she died August 28, 2001. She died 2 weeks before 9/11. That's when this really started professionally. But I would see roses 25 times a day. Wow. Like in crazy places. So then, somebody said to me, oh, you have the gift. You have the ability. And then I pursued it and went around it.
What about smells? Do you get smells?
I do, but rarely. I do, but
no, because I hear some people say, "Oh, I opened this drawer and I smell my mother's perfume," or I had a girl that once that smelled roses a lot. She smelled flowers a lot.
You know what? That's how the other side gets close to their loved ones. So basically, if somebody's mother's deceased, yes, they're going to get to them that way. It's too hard to give them information like I get. So they use smells, smelling cigarettes, smelling perfume, smelling whatever, flowers, whatever it is. But that's their signs, their personal signs.
This is fascinating to me because I don't even know what to think about it. I mean, each one leads into a rabbit hole of different paths to talk about. But when it comes to this, then what about the demonic? What about the evil? What about the people that are right around us that have bad intention?
Good question. Again, everything's about energy and what you attract. And if you're of the light, you're going to attract good energy. If you're doing this for the wrong reasons, you are going to attract bad energy, like Ouija boards. Nobody should ever be using a Ouija board because you're not protected and you're attracting low-level spirits.
So Ouija boards work?
Well, they do, but you shouldn't use them.
Holy Moses.
It seems odd though that a Ouija board would actually work because, well, what are we looking at? A cardboard and a plastic little, I mean, where is the spiritual? It's the intention that really makes it work and not the board.
Your hand. Well, first of all, it's intention, but also your hands. Everybody's made of energy. There's energy all around us. We have an aura. We're able to, if you don't control that Ouija board and you just put your hands down, somebody's controlling that. The other side can do many, 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 many things. They could flip a table upside down. It's rare, but they can do that.
Wow.
Is this to you a gift or a tragic thing for you? What do you feel? I mean, I'm sure it changed from then to now, but is it a gift? Do you feel it's a gift or tragic for you?
I don't like to use the word gift because everybody has gifts. I use it as an ability. I use the word ability. Okay. It's an ability or a talent, just like a musician. You could learn how to play the piano or you could be a Mozart. But gifts sound like I'm special. I don't feel any more special than a talented musician.
Well, that brings up another question then about egotism and narcissism, because as a psychic, a lot of people will feel that what you do is not true, and they'll taunt you with trying to give you proof, etc. So do you feel the need to be right and prove them wrong and say, yes, I can speak, your dead mom is named Susie and she wears lots of jewelry, and they're like, oh my God, how'd you know that? I mean, do you feel you need to prove it, or you really don't care?
Well, first of all, growing up in Brooklyn and a skeptical family, I always had to prove everything. So this is second nature to me. I believe every single medium on the planet, if you're going to say, or psychic, you're going to say you're a psychic or medium, you better prove it, because this industry is full of frauds. And if you're going to go out and you have somebody else's, if somebody's listening to you and saying, oh, I should do this because the psychic said that, that's dangerous. Or if somebody's saying, oh, and let's say somebody's sick and the psychic's saying, oh, everything's going to turn around next 3 months. And they find out that it's not, they're putting hope in your hands, and you are not ethical by giving them information that you are not backing up. So if I say something, I back up every single thing, and not only for the client, for myself. I back up everything for me. When you work with the police, you have to back it up. You can't say, oh, well, they're sorry they committed suicide and, they're really sorry that they did this and they're at peace. No, you have to give proof. What, why, where, when, how. That's the bottom line with me.
Well, suicide brings up another whole point. How does suicide actually fall into the spiritual realm? Great
question. Suicide is not a choice. When we are on the other side, we choose to come into this life to learn things. We don't choose to opt out. This is our school. You don't choose to drop out. So when we take our own life, or even if we're reckless with what we do, suicide is not something you say, well, I'm gonna commit suicide and I'm just gonna get out of this lifetime because it's too hard. That is very, very, that's not looked upon very highly on the other side. You may have to jump back in and live your life to the end where it's supposed to.
Now that brings up another question. When you say live your life to the end, you have to jump back in. That means you're born into another uterus and you're coming back out and spending another whole lifetime here trying to grow. Doesn't that on some level hurt the person that bore you? Doesn't that infringe on that next person's right? In other words, this guy killed himself and then he comes back in. It's like, oh, I got to be a mother again for this clown.
Well, we make contracts on the other side. So, it's all contracted. People that we know, people that we, even if we don't know them well, we've already known them from our previous lifetimes. However, suicide changes things. And again, we can't prove exactly, how this is, but this is a belief system. And Earth is just one school of many that you can come back to learn and live out your
And is there a different, what about religious? Are you a religious person? Do you believe is one religion better than the other? Today I work with Orthodox Jewish people. There's Christians, there's, Zen, Buddhist monks. What do you believe in? And is there a difference between them for what your work?
I believe in God. I believe there's one God. I believe there's many planes going to the same airport. So I don't believe if there's 1,000 religions, one is not better than the other.
Planes going to that's a great point. Many planes going to the same airport. I like that point.
Yeah. So, when somebody says to me, well, you Christian, do you believe this? Do you believe that? First of all, you have to be careful of religion because it can be cult-like. And I'm spiritual, but I do believe God is the force or the higher energy that's in all of us. And we need to, and that's what I use when I meditate. I have the force of the light, and that's energy, God, whatever you want to call it, is fine.
I call it organizing intelligence.
That's fine.
I like that term.
He wants to sound smart now. I call it organizing.
I got a bunch of guys that thought the same way.
There was a question in the YouTube chat going back to when I was asking you about, can you turn it off? And someone in there said they were also intuitive, and they said that they teach spirit, as they said, boundaries. Like that this person has boundaries set up of when and where and how they and that they can tell them, listen, you can't be doing this all the time, and I need some time. Well, I'm just paraphrasing, to give them their personal time. Like you can't always just come at 3 o'clock in the morning and wake me up and say, hey, hello, how are you?
Yes, I believe that. I believe that there are boundaries because you can't be a professional if every single night you go to sleep and you're, some spirits entering, your room and you're like, okay, here we go. But on the other hand, if they really need to get a message for some reason, you're going to get that.
They're going to keep going.
They're going to keep going until they get their message delivered.
Now, you do private appointments, obviously. Am I correct?
Yes, I do.
Now, as someone has an appointment with you, do you find that people that want to speak to them come way before, or do they bother you a week before, days before, a month before? Or, I don't know what your waiting period's like, but are they, do you know it's for them, stuff like that?
It does happen. It's not as common as you would think.
Yeah.
But it does happen, and it's been happening a lot more frequently. I feel that we have a lot more passings recently in the last few years than ever.
Wow.
So I've been inundated with dreams and spirits coming to me before. But I would say probably 1 out of every 50 readings, they would show up prior, either in a dream or something, the day before or that day. But sometimes I don't recognize it right away. Everything is figuring out with me. It's like being a detective.
It's a puzzle.
It's a puzzle.
Yeah, it is a puzzle. And it's funny because as you're saying this, that the way they come in, I'm thinking to myself, can you envision this? Like a bunch of spirits online behind Barbara's head going, hey, I'm going to the men's room. Do me a favor, stay here while I hold my spot. I got next. I want to talk to her next. It's almost silly.
Barbara, what do you feel most people want to know when they're coming to you, except for, maybe people that they didn't know how they died or if they suffered, or what's the most popular question, do you think? What is it, or what they want to know the most? Is there something like that? Is something that you run across a lot of the time?
Well, the main thing, obviously, is if you have a loss, you want to know where they are and if they're okay. But we can't answer where they are because there's no proof behind that.
Correct.
Okay. I can answer that they're okay because I can give cause of death, names, dates, how they, an illness, where they lived, an occupation, something about them that describes them in some way. That's fact.
That's crazy.
So that's why I always say you should know they're okay, but let's provide even more.
Barbara, somebody on the Facebook or YouTube page also just asked about people that commit suicide. They said that what they wanted to know is that they have to relearn to communicate after you take your life. They said they wanted to know that, do you think they don't think, well, they said they don't believe they come back right away after they take their own life. Is that true or not? Daily Directions said that on YouTube.
That they don't know. I'm sorry.
They were asking, what about needing to relearn how to communicate after you take your life? They didn't think that you come back right away.
We don't know. See, that's up to that. That's not something that's, a standard answer. We don't know if they're going to come back right away. But if they haven't learned all their lessons, they may need to come back. But as far as communication, you mean communication with the living? You're talking about the communication, how they communicate with a medium? I don't know what you mean by communication.
I mean, I guess that's what they're trying to say, I think they're trying to say is people that commit suicide, they have to relearn how to communicate. I don't know. Maybe that's in their instinct. I don't know. That's what it said exactly. I mean, you can see it after. That's how the question was phrased. So.
She could answer it on YouTube. She could answer it on YouTube later on.
It didn't go like that. So
now, it's a deep subject. Let's put it down. It's a deep subject.
What about now? About people that say that died and come back, and they go someplace and then they come back. So obviously you believe in all of that. Also, you believe that these people that get resuscitated, that were maybe dead for a period of time, and then they brought them back, CPR or whatever. And they've gone to a place. Is that something?
Let me just interject an important point there, though, because Mike just said you believe that. But what we're talking about here just makes me think, Mike, that belief is different than knowing.
No, well, I'm trying to get her interpretation of it. I mean,
yes, okay.
When I use the word believe, I mean, I want to know what her interpretation of that is.
Okay.
Right. I believe that we have we can't, this is not an exact science. Okay. It's a belief, it's a faith system, whatever. But if we have 5 exit points, 25, 38, 42, 56, 75, whatever. If you get into a horrible, God forbid, car accident at 25, and it's not your time to go because you have not learned all your lessons down here, then miracles happen. People have died for 20 minutes and come back, or 2 minutes or whatever. So that's why miracles happen. That's the purpose of miracles.
I've died on stage for an hour. And you said earlier that you get sick when people after your show. I've had the whole crowd get sick.
So you say that people have to learn lessons. Is that what we're here for?
That's what we're here for. But 90% of the population don't know why we're here, unfortunately. And that's my job, is to educate the public as to what we're doing here. Why would you even want to consult a psychic or medium? You should really explore inside your own soul what your purpose is, why you're here, if you're progressing.
I guess some people want confirmation. I know some people go and they say, look, I'm going to try this business out. I'm going to do this or that, because my sister, I tell you, I went to this one girl once and it was like, amazing, as far as health wise. And then she was saying certain things like, are you doing this or doing that? And I would say, no, I think this is going to be something you're going to be doing. So if this comes along, I think that you should take a chance on it. Maybe good for you. And I think this person in your life is bad. I see lawyers and I see law. And then, I have this problem with somebody. And then all of a sudden you're in court. So it's like, and stuff that, don't happen for 6 months. And then it hits you and you say, wow, that was correct. So that really bugs you out a little bit, to be honest with you. It takes you off your game that, that someone has this innate ability. And I don't know if I told you, PZ, the one time that my uncle was telling him and my cousin was selling a house and he had money in the wall. And he actually told this woman, she said, look, don't sell a house. I don't know why, if it's sentimental or something. And then she said she saw like money or dollars. She says, maybe there's money there. I'm seeing money. And he says, I don't know, she said, but this is what I'm getting to take a look. And sure enough, they found like 50 grand in the wall piece.
This is fascinating to me. And I'll tell you why. And you did tell me that story a while ago. And it reminds me of this too, which is interesting, Barbara, because this is just related to what Mike, apropos to what he's saying. I read a book that I read 3 times. I really liked it. It was by a woman named Marianne something Ski. And it's called, it's something Ski. She lives in Ohio. And it was well, her website was MaryAnnGhostbuster.com. I do recall that. I forget the name of the book necessarily, but I think it was like Life After Death or something. But she had many accounts in the book of being a little girl and going to funerals, and they would hire her to go to funerals all the time as she got older to talk to dead people at the funeral. She claimed, and that's what I'm asking, Mike, almost the same thing. She claimed that when you went to a funeral, that all the people and family are there, but clearly there was always the spirit of the dead person in the room, always.
Wow.
They're there at that funeral. They're observing everybody and everything that's going on around them. They
Get
see
that son of a bitch out of here.
I never wanted that guy at my funeral. But she says they're all sitting there and they're floating around and they're seeing people come to the casket, etc. And she said that they can't communicate. They're frustrated and they can't communicate. But she would get hired very often. And she had said one of the stories that she went to a funeral and a guy came pounding down to her and said, please tell them that inside the basement, inside the piping that goes to the boiler that we don't use anymore is cash. And there was like $100,000 cash that the guy saved his whole life. Wow. And they went down, she said, went over to the woman who was grieving and said, I need to speak to you after this. And she told her this and she threw her out. And later called her back and thanked her that there was $100,000 in a metal pipe in her basement. So this leads me. So this is like your story, Mike. But
see the bad person in me. I've got the address. I go get it.
If she was smart, she'd be a millionaire.
After she threw me out,
she'd be Mary Ann Rich Ghostbuster. But the thing is that when I hear stories like that, it made me think differently about going to. I've never gone to funerals until I'm older now. I didn't start going to funerals till like 10 years ago. I never went to funerals. Mm-hmm. I thought that once you died, it's over. I don't care. It's done. It's over. Get in the ground. See you. Ciao. It's over. And now when I read all those stories, it changed my perspective on the dead. I actually believe now that going to the dead, well, first of all, I see how important it is to be supportive of a family that's in grief. Everybody coming in is a good distraction to grief. But more importantly, I see it differently now. When I go up to that casket, I actually believe that person is there and I can have a different relationship saying goodbye visually on some more innate level. Well, maybe not visually, but some invisible level. So then, Mike, that leads to the question, just like Mike is saying, is that can you go to funerals and see dead people all the time? You can interact with them. Do they expect us to do anything? What is the expectation? What is the closure? And she also claimed that at the end of the funeral, behind the coffin goes this light, a bright white light, and that they're able to go to another level. And a lot of them get stuck and earthbound and become ghosts and travel around the earth, afraid to go into the light.
Yeah, he's $100,000 in the wall. You don't want to leave.
But she said that she claimed that she had the ability even later on to create this light to let them escape through to the next level. Now, do you believe that light and that escape in the next level?
Well, first of all, that's more like a ghost whisperer where you help the souls cross over. I don't do that. I give confirmation that about souls that have crossed over. I don't believe all these people at funerals are stuck. I mean, these energies that have died, and you go to the funeral, they're all stuck. But I have been to funerals where they have communicated. That's why it's too difficult for me. I do get bombarded at funerals. However, they're around us whether they're at the funeral or they're not. Now, when I do readings, a lot of times the other side wants to bring up what happened at the funeral. Just read a detective the other night, and this person brought up what happened at the funeral. There was a self-portrait made, and it was, described what happened at the funeral. So they're just trying to prove that they see their own death. So they're not really dead. Nobody really dies. They just move to another location. Wow.
Can you wrap that around your head, though, Mike? Think about that. You really don't die. You're just getting out of this costume that we're in, and suddenly you're floating around with a bunch of other people as a light.
Do you do house blessings? Do you clean them out, or is there anybody ever? No, you don't do that stuff.
No, because you're dealing with energy, and you could deal with good energy, bad energy. Yeah. I don't.
Those are Polish mediums.
No, I had a friend that moved into a house and like they felt like the wife didn't want to stay there, and they were getting like these worst feelings in the world, and they like hired like 2 different people to come in and just like trying to bless the house and just try to get just to clear it out a little bit. And they finally did it. He goes, but and this is a guy that's the most, you wouldn't believe anything. And he said this was really bothering. He was uneasy all the time, and his wife was getting sick, and they needed someone to come in. There was they could never find out what happened because he wished he could, but there was someone with bad intentions in that house. And that's what, one girl came and she left. She wouldn't even stay there. She didn't come back anymore. And then they got some guy to come and do it. And he said it was really wretched. It was bad people.
Well, Mike, I'm a scary Mary. Okay. I'm afraid of all that stuff. I just want to deal with good energies that have crossed over, and to confirm
so
that.
If you walk in and they go, "Get out," you're running.
I run very fast.
You're better off being a scary Mary than a hairy.
Yeah, that was that. Remember that Amityville horror piece?
Yeah,
oh, it was unbelievable. That was great. Now we just got a message on the YouTube chat from that same Daily Directions on YouTube. Said she asked that religious people are not open to the same things that a medium is. Is that true? That if you're very religious, you're somehow closed down and not open to your abilities because of the dogma?
Yeah, I do believe that. But, I think things are changing. People are starting to really go inside themselves instead of being, religion's organized by man. It's all organized by man. And it's a belief system. But you really have to rely on yourself, because when you cross over, you don't have your priest coming with you going, okay, here we go. We're going over to the other side together. You have to rely on only you. So you have to believe in your own soul and what you really feel, not what somebody tells you or quote the Bible or whatever. It's all organized by man.
So you believe that people do not die until they received all the lessons, or people can die and not have all their lessons completed?
The only way people can die and not have all their lessons completed is suicide.
That's it.
That's it.
So, but what about young children and stuff? I mean, how lessons do they learn? I mean,
great question. It's a contract between the parent and the child, the mother or parent, the family.
Can you imagine
to learn that lesson of losing that child?
Can you imagine signing up for that, though, Barbara? Can you imagine signing up for that? My God, that sounds so painful.
No, well, again, this is all an illusion, John.
Yeah,
life is an illusion. We're only here to learn lessons and go back home.
When you pop out, but when you're in it, it's no illusion. It's like when it hurts. The pain is real.
That's where education comes in. That's where we, as a professional medium, come in and say, hey, this is what life is about, to ease that loss.
So what were you saying about so a child obviously didn't learn any lessons? Are you saying that child was there for the mother and father to learn lessons?
Yes.
The parents.
So it's just a, for lack of a better word, a prop? I mean,
no, you can't say the child has not learned lessons, because we don't know what that soul on the other side really wanted to know when they came in. That's
probably pain.
It's very, very complicated.
You just said the soul coming back. Are you believe that we're souls are born again?
Well, that's what reincarnation is.
So oh, okay. I missed all of that. So
yeah, where were you, sleeping?
No, so everything's you keep coming back.
It's your choice. Nobody tells you what to do, but yes, you keep coming back. We've lived many. There's a book, Many Lives, Many Masters.
I've read it.
That's true then. You feel that you've done something before in a past life.
Yes.
That you can have that memory.
Yes, you could drown. You could feel like, oh my God, I'm going to drown. I have the feeling of drowning, because you could have drowned in a previous life.
So you mean maybe some of your fears of what you've had a problem with in your past life?
Could be, but we don't usually remember a past life because we're in this life. We need to learn about this life, not.
Yeah, they talk a lot about that in when they read the sun and the stars. What is it? Astrology. They believe a lot in that past life type of stuff. And
I think we both starved in our past life.
You're making up for it now.
Gandhi.
Yeah. But this leads again. This is like all rabbit path. You could just go into so many different directions.
Absolutely.
We're only talking about one thing. You're just talking to dead people, and yet it opens up this wide scope of a reality for us to look at. But Sausage, this is funny too, because you're sitting there saying, "Yeah, we're reborn." Yeah, well, if we're reborn over and over again, it would almost, if you're very well aware of that, it almost makes you feel like, why work hard? Why do this? Why do that? Everything's happening. Who cares? Let's go out, smoke pot, overeat, and chill. Did you read that? Did you read that comment?
Yeah, that's
Mike?
your boy Tim Hayes.
Tim Hayes, pay attention, stay in life, will you? Tim Hayes is someone we recently interviewed who is a chiropractor and a comedian.
Yeah,
So he cracks
you up and cracks your back.
Yeah, crack the funny bone. And Mike recently went to him to have his back cracked, and he had a happy ending. Am I right?
I want to know what he was in his prior life.
That he's hurting people.
Robert, do you ever feel something that you think you had? I mean, do you go for readings? Do you have anybody?
That's a great question. When my mother passed,
I got a lot of great questions now. I feel like I'm being in school.
You're doing pretty good, and you haven't put. And you didn't do any pre-show on this, did you?
I don't have to, bro.
You make sausage, and you're a natural.
No, I'm intelligent. What did you say before? What intelligent? Organized intelligence.
Organizing intelligence. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, after 2001, when my mother passed, yes, I did go to a few professional recommended mediums. But I'm such a skeptic that I just don't consult mediums on a regular basis.
So now, after that happened, do you feel differently about dying?
100%.
And do you look forward to it?
This life is difficult. I can't say that I want to opt out right now because I know my lessons aren't done. However, I think heaven is
now.
Yes.
This is another thing that brings
this is like a living hell. If you
another direction. Yeah, I could see that. You could make it whatever you want on some level. But one of the things that people had said, I've read somewhere, that the mentality that you have prior to dying is almost where you're going to go in the slot of the many houses of God. In other words, if you're an angry, curmudgeon-y person just before you die, you're going to that doorway, as opposed to if you're a person's at peace and all good, you're going to a better place, just because of the direction of the mentality at death.
Well, I believe that a skeptic, someone who doesn't believe in, or actually a cynic who doesn't believe in God at all, is going to have a harder time crossing over than a believer in God. But when you cross over, you can't say what's really going to happen. So that's why I don't really like to comment on where you go. I just know that if you are a believer in the afterlife, it's going to be an easier transition. But remember, the hardest transition is birth, not death.
Wow.
Well, not for me. And again, my uterus has never been used.
And I was small coming in. I'm going to be a lot bigger going out.
You're going to be squeezing like 2 pounds into a sausage.
But remember, you guys can all change that, right? You have time.
That's true.
What
are you trying to say, Barbara, with fat?
Exactly.
She's trying to say, hey, you two are guys, have a little time to fix it yourself.
So the person wants to know, how could you be a skeptic and a medium?
Again, I love that question because it's the industry. It's what the industry has become. A medium is just a term, saying that you have an ability to get information on total strangers. But because of this industry, and I'm not a big fan of this industry, I have to be skeptical.
So you're a skeptic up until the point you say, okay, this person, is the real deal. And blah, blah. So because there's a lot of fakes and frauds. And
well, who are the fakes and frauds? I mean, we have John Edward, who's huge. And then we have the Long Island Psychic, who became very big recently. And there's another guy.
There's that girl on TV, Kim, she does that show with the ghosts.
But there's another guy that's been around a long time. He's a chunky guy. He's from Queens.
Oh, is that the short, heavy set guy?
The short, heavy set guy. He has a little bit of a womanish kind of demeanor about him when he speaks. He's got blue eyes and curly hair.
Forget his name.
Who is it, Barbara? Do you know?
Jeffrey Wands? Jeffrey?
No, not Jeffrey Wands. No. You know the guy.
Oh, James Van Prague.
Yes, thank you.
Yes,
I had an issue with James. I had a little run-in with James Van Prague about 15 years ago, actually.
Did you really?
Yes, I really. I mean, I won't say what happened, but it was. I found him to be a liar in something.
Ooh.
Yeah, I won't say what happened. It's a long story. It was when AOL was just coming.
John Fredo said he's a medium rare.
Yeah, he wishes.
If I could say one thing.
Sure.
I do believe that the mediums that prove themselves out, like myself, and there are mediums that do that, very few. I do believe John Edward is the real deal. But if
he comes up with some wild things.
If you prove yourself out, you can't. It can't be false. Again, general statements. They love you. They miss you. They're watching.
What about this letter? I see an S or I see a T or. I mean,
no, well, the S, when I give names, I give more information than just the S or T. I'll say the name, but then I back it up with the birthday, a death date, how they passed. So I'm not going to just say, oh, I see an S name. Everybody's going to have an S name. But the next 10 things have got to connect with that person or that person's family.
I'm sorry I'm laughing at this because I can't stop myself from thinking this way. You said, I see an S, I see a T, and you go, oh, I just shit my pants. I'm sorry to discount you on that moment, Barbara.
I know what the hell you were laughing at. I thought you were losing your mind.
What's funny, she's seeing spirits and dead people, and I'm seeing like somebody shitting their pants. That shows you how conscious I am.
Well, the other thing is, and this is the S and T, situation. The other side doesn't have a mouth, so they're not going to be able to say the physical names exactly, or the winning lottery numbers, or somebody's military ID number, or the social security numbers that skeptics are looking for.
Right.
But if you're saying 10 things in a row, or I'm solving a crime and those 10 things apply to that crime, then you can't discount it. It's impossible.
Yeah, but Houdini, right? He was looking for Houdini said there's an afterlife. They made up a certain thing they were going to say, right? John?
Yeah, there was a word that they scripted on her.
And it never came to light. And she went to a lot of psychic mediums.
Well, he actually would go through a lot of mediums, and
he loved that,
and show how false it really was. He was a magician. That was a matter of fact. Barbara and I had a really great conversation a couple of days ago, and we were speaking just about that. I was telling her, being a magician and a mentalist, right. I could show her things that would probably impress her, that are tricks, and so I become very skeptical. But yet I'm also open to.
You like all this stuff.
I like this stuff because I find it fascinating and intriguing, and I could sit there and talk to Barbara for days. I like to get behind her eyeballs and see the world that she's.
Me too. You want to believe that. See how she said, like, she looks at death a whole different way. You want to not be afraid or be scared, or you want to be able to say with some certainty that there's something else, and. That's what everybody mostly, I guess, thinks about, because if you're having a good time in this life, you want to live for a long time.
Yeah, if you got cash. Somebody, Daily Directions also just said that John Edwards, they believe, is fake. They said he's a cold reader. Now, that's another thing. Tell us, Barbara, cold reading is one of the, now, I'm not saying that John is a
you're not saying that person, you're just saying what they said. Yes.
I do not know, but what I do know is I do know about cold reading. I've read books on cold reading, and for people that don't know, maybe you want to tell us what that's all about and how false mediums use this.
Well, again, people could say John Edwards this, John Edwards that. They could talk about any medium they want. I'm a professional. No one's going to get anything by me. Again, I solve crimes. You can't, work with the police and then say, well, we're going to find the missing person and we're going to solve the crime. They can't say, well, you didn't do it. Obviously, you've done it.
Right.
But when you're a cold reading, basically is throwing out information, hoping that the client is going to respond with information to take them to the next level. I don't let my clients talk.
Okay.
If you talk, you're out. Okay.
So obviously the police believe in this stuff.
Well,
they're not allowed.
Let's put it
right?
this way: if the police believed in it to the point where they will hire psychic mediums, they'd be out of a job. Okay, and they would be.
So what leads them to finally say, "Oh, let's call Barbara"?
Well, because what I believe is if you do live events, which I do to prove what I do, or if somebody recommends you, I don't advertise except for my shows.
Okay.
For 15 years. People found me through people that had good experiences.
Okay.
But what I find is today with mediums and psychics, it's what people want to hear. I will never tell you what you want to hear. In fact, I will say, if you say something to me, I will say, no, think about it. This is what I'm getting. I will not just sell out and say, oh yeah, whatever you say, that's it. But I want to get back to the cold reading. Very important. Again, you could throw out any bits of information and somebody can say, oh yeah, that's this, or that's that side of the family. I prove it out because I stay on the same side of the family. Or if I say 10 things, I'm not going to go and jumping around from this spirit or that side of the family. If I'm on your mother's side, I'm going to give you 10 things about the spirit that's connecting to that side of the family, which is very unique. You're not going to just be all over the map. Everybody has a Florida connection. If I say to you, Mike, what does Florida mean? Everybody has a Florida connection, right?
He thinks of fried fish.
You names, dates, how people pass, and it's all connected to the person we're talking about. Then you know it's real.
Yeah,
She sounds so much like the real deal.
Peace though, because and we seen like and I seen like someone fake, but as part of an act. We seen Kreskin.
Yeah.
Okay. This guy had people crying.
Yeah.
And he's there to entertain. He's an entertainer.
And he says he's an entertainer.
And the way he done a few things, and it's really good because me and Peace are looking at each other like, how the hell did he do that?
How'd you do it? It was amazing.
We can pretty much, we try to figure everything out all the time. He's on the phone. How did I do this? And we did that, and these people were crying. That's how good it was. Not with laughter, with emotion. Yeah, with emotion. It was really I felt bad almost. Mm-hmm. I said, doesn't this guy feel guilty doing that to people? He doesn't say he's a true. I know. He doesn't mean that. I know that. But it was it's crazy. So it makes you think a lot, especially. That's why my job is really to educate the public on this industry and to let people know how to spot a fake, what to say, what not to say. That's really huge. So that's really what I'm. Yeah, I went to Long Island once with somebody, and I wound up going there. They wound up giving the money back. Wow. Because it wasn't getting nothing, and I'm sorry, it's never happened before, and because she was fishing a little bit, It sounds like after the first time you have sex, so I'm sorry, this never happened before. You want a bank rub? You want to hear my CD set? So, but this is another thing too. Now, I read or I heard or read somewhere that when you are a spirit, when people, I'll put it this way: when you take pictures, and sometimes people see in the pictures these little orbs, these little balls of light in the pictures. Yep. People say, "Oh, those are spirits that are all around you," and people say, "No, it's dust on the lens, etc." But I've heard some people say that those are actually spirits, and that when you pass, you essentially turn into this energy ball of light. And that's what you are in that realm at that time before you evolve into whatever you. No way I'm fitting into a ball. We're already a ball. Yeah, a big ball. A huge ball. You got a ball on top of your head. Look, I got Barbara abused me. I go into a huge ball. No, I'm only kidding you, Sources. Only kidding. Nah, I'm not mad. You know me. I can take it better than any of them. Actually, hit me. Go ahead. Hit me. Actually, we are orbs, and orbs show up in pictures. But again, not every orb is in a picture is an orb. It can be a dust ball, but not every dust ball is not an orb. So, but are we those little beads of light after we pass the body? Why are we? No, are we after we let the body go? That's what we are. We turn into an energy ball. 100%. And was my mother always right to make sure you wear clean underwear out in case something happens?
Not when you're an energy ball.
Did they ever say that to you, Bees? But what if sometimes you gotta go to the hospital? Make sure you have clean underwear on.
You know, my friend, you know the guy. We interviewed him before, Bob Levy. He used to have the greatest joke. He says, my mother used to tell me all the time, wear clean underwear in case you get hit by a bus. She goes, Mom, if I get hit by a bus, I'm going to shit my pants.
But that's true. My grandma said, I said, Grandma, you're so morbid. You're like wishing like me to get put in the hospital or something. Right? Don't run with the fork. You're going to take your eye out. So,
right, all the old.
Wear clean underwear in case you get hit by a bus and you go to the hospital. It's funny.
This is creepy though, because I really, really, really would love to. I would find it frightening, but I would love to be able to speak to a passed on person. I mean, I have relatives. Matter of fact, as an example, I've had conflicts in my family, right? And people pass before I resolve conflicts. So it would be really wonderful to be able to spend a few moments with somebody to resolve a conflict. It would make, as a human, make you feel better now.
Just know when you're at that funeral parlor, that guy was cursing you out when he was there watching you. Yeah,
you're right.
Son of a bitch.
I think you're right. I think that happened to me.
Get a whole new sense about you. Do people carry anger with them?
No. The only time they would be upset is if you're doing something stupid. You know, if
wow, the whole family must be really upset.
now, can they can see us after they're dead?
Well, they would have to, because
they can see everything that we do.
Even in the shower.
Yes, I wouldn't get the information if they couldn't see, hear, or feel you.
Oh my God! Please. That's bad thoughts right there.
Yeah, that's lots of bad thoughts. Matter of fact, those are the bad thoughts that created those scenes. So if they could see, so is there non-judgment from that point of view, do you think?
100%.
Oh, really?
Yes. 100%.
Has to be.
That? So so today we're both there gouging at Mother's Day food, gouging. And they're like, it's okay. It's okay.
No, I wasn't really talking about that.
Not if your cholesterol is going up, and not if your your sugar. So that's what they'd be giving you warnings about.
Well, Peasy,
we're not listening, Mike. I don't know about you, but I'm just not listening to the signs. I mean, I try, but I just I'm a weak human.
You're better than me. At least you have a green shake once in a while.
I got it right here.
Oh no! See, so
my matcha tea.
I tell you, he can eat like cookies and cake, and come home and says, "Oh, my wife went to Wegmans, or she went to Costco, and here he is. He's eating, whatever, cheesecakes or whatever, and he's got this green drink. He's like, give me two Big Macs, French fries, and a Diet Coke."
No, I haven't had that in years, many years. I haven't eaten that. Speaking of that, then, but that's what hell on earth is McDonald's. That's what hell on earth really is.
That's crazy.
So Barbara.
Where can we find her, Pease? It's about that time, but I hate to do that to you. But.
Yeah, I hate to even get her off, but we're gonna have to definitely. Hopefully, she's enjoyed doing this.
Like you went 20 minutes long. I gave it.
I could go 2 more hours.
I know.
We have to bring her back.
Yes, no problem.
That would be wonderful. So, Barbara, that's a good question. So, people they will come to you, and do you do these readings in your home and in their office, over the internet, on the phone? How do you do that?
Well, there's various ways, but I would tell them to contact me and we can discuss that.
There is various ways.
Yeah, there's various ways, and phone sessions are great as well. You don't have to physically be with me.
Are they as effective as being with you?
Absolutely, 100%. I do phone readings inside the country, outside the country, Croatia. I solved a murder in England. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's your voice that connects with the other side.
Did you ever solve a murder and then they think you did it because you know so much information about it? I mean, that's creepy.
Wow,
that's a little scary, but I have a lot of documentation about being in the paper and on radio, so people know that I'm.
So wait, so Bob, if someone had someone in their family that passed under weird circumstances, is it a guarantee, or is it something that you can try to help with? Is it like they want to know who killed my son or my brother or something? They never found the guy.
Well, again, when you say, I work on fact. Okay, so if somebody comes to me and says, "I don't know how my brother died."
No, let's just say there's a murder, but they never found the guy.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I have to work on fact. I can tell them what I'm picking up, but we can't say 100% until it's all proven out. You know what I mean? But
the person that died, will they come to you?
Yeah, I mean, they can come to me on their own. I also view pictures. So after they come into the reading, I'll say, is this the person that you want to connect with? Then I'll give you the picture. And then that helps me connect with them even longer and more detailed.
But are they coming to you? But when they come to you, are they coming to you because you're putting your attention on them?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So your focal point, you being a focal point, pulls them into.
No, what I'm saying is, like, there's a lot of unsolved murders. I mean, is it possible that you never solved a murder? I mean,
why? I think of it as logic. Why would I be correct in all these readings, and all of a sudden they're going to throw out wrong information?
No. What I'm saying is, like, there's unsolved murders, so people absolutely don't know who killed this person, and I'm sure the police would like to find them.
Right. But the problem is with the police. A lot of times police don't want to work with the medium because of them, what it looks like in the department. Oh my God, you can't solve the crime. You got to go to a medium.
Yeah, why not? And who cares?
Of course. And that's what I want to do, in the future is do a lot of police work because
Someday, well, did you ever see that movie Precogs, the one where they had the precogs, the people sitting in the water?
Yes.
Oh, that was wonderful with
I know. That was a good movie. Tom Cruise.
Yeah, with the pre-crimes. They were predicting crimes ahead of time with these two mediums that were actually seeing the future before it happened and then arresting them before they did the crime. It was an amazing story. But
I document all my world event dreams. I dreamt of 9/11, Katrina, the tsunami, Hurricane Sandy. I documented 15 years ago, right after 9/11. I had a dream of a world event. I'm not going to get into details, but I document
that's creepy.
3 years from now. But even the Clinton escapees.
Well, where should we be living? Just lost that.
The people that escaped jail in Clinton, New York. I don't know if you remember that story.
Yes.
I have it actually documented before it ended up being solved. And I said somebody was going to shot in the back. And it's an email that I do because I want to make sure that people say, well, wait a minute, you say this.
Right.
And I can pull it right up and prove it. So
see, this makes it creepy. But I think what Sauces was trying to say to you earlier, was there ever like a case that you worked on that you're giving them information? Obviously, they never followed through the completion to say, yes, that's the guy. In other words, you worked on it and we couldn't validate it, not because of you, because of the police department.
No, but not that didn't happen with me specifically, but yes, that can happen. Of course. Absolutely.
Right. I would imagine so.
But
what about the presidency and stuff like that? Are you able to see who's going to win that, or is that something that?
You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. When it involves me and my life, I'm not able to be clear on an outcome.
You're not objective enough. You're dead.
Right. So yes, I did not think Trump was going to win.
So it screws you up.
Half the country did.
Right out there. But I did have a dream of
so did Martin Luther King.
And it was not a great dream. So I knew something was up.
Oh, okay.
But again,
Barbara,
it's solving puzzles.
Let me ask you this too, because I know we have to go, and I can't just go on and on. I just want to well, first of all, if I came to you and said, hey, Barbara, can you help me see my past of relatives and stuff? Being that we've just met and we've spoken for a few hours, would that be helpful or detrimental?
Helpful to you?
To you.
She don't know you personally, Pete.
I don't know you. I don't know.
No, she doesn't know me.
I don't know anything about you. In fact,
if she knew you, she wouldn't be here.
Well, good one. But what's good is I think it would enlighten you, and it would enlighten you about the process and even my style. Because as a magician, a lot of magicians are very skeptical or cynical about this. And I would love, to see how you feel after the reading, like what came up and how it came up. And
yeah, he's very open-minded, though.
I'm open-minded, but I'm also a very public figure. So as analytically, the first thing you think of is, well, you could go on the internet and find a loadout about me. You could watch videos of me. You could see who I am character-wise very clearly and easily. However, like you said, facts, you can't.
No, they're not going to give me stuff that's public information. So, they're not going to give you the when I was on the radio, in 94.3, and I read one of the producers, and I said there was an Uncle George or something that died of pancreatic cancer. He went to call his mother, and it was like out west, and the guy, he didn't even know that his Uncle George died of pancreatic cancer.
Wow.
So you're going to get things that you're going to have to research after the reading. So it's not going to be, oh, well, I see a father figure.
Right.
And, his name is, simple. No, it's not going to work like that with me.
I'm definitely coming to Barbara to get read for sure. Is there anything else helpful besides speaking to the people that have passed that you can do, like helping in career and direction? All of it.
All mediums are psychics, which means they could talk about, your past to prove that they're psychic, your present, and your future. That's what they have to do. You can't go to a psychic and they bring up things that they don't know anything about you, because anybody could say anything if it's not proven out. So a good psychic is going to timeline you, and it's going to give you information about your past, something that happened in your past, something that's going on current, and something about your future.
Mike, would you want to go to Barbara?
Sure, I go anywhere.
I go anywhere. All right, and then we'll go to dinner.
Can we do dinner during the reading?
How about this? How about we trade some of Mike's sausage for a reading? Barbara, you are certainly a delight. You're a lovely woman, and you are very informative and very articulate and very clear. And I cherish this time. I thought this was a lot of fun. And again, to do this correctly, people don't know. I know. Barbara is this coming Sunday at Uncle Vinny's Comedy Club in Point Pleasant, New Jersey. And she's and it's already sold out. So if you want to go see it, you cannot. It's sold out. And by the way, I work comedy clubs all the time. To go to a comedy club and sell it out on a Sunday afternoon is really impressive, because I don't get those numbers on a Saturday night sometimes, I'm sorry to say. And I have television credits and things going on. But we want to know how we can reach Barbara. And by the way, Barbara's going to be this Sunday at Point Pleasant at Uncle Vinny's sold out show. But then you're going to be back there in June. What is the date in June?
July.
In July 23rd. We had a few shows. They're all sold out. So you got to get your tickets soon.
Early.
But yes, July 23rd. And
Uncle Vinny's. What could people expect when they come there? To be read? Is everyone be able to get read, or just a few people? Or
No. I'm probably the medium that does the most amount of readings. I try to fly through the audience, but we're here to learn. We're here to see what a real legitimate medium does, not someone who just throws out general information in a section, or, that it could apply to 100 people. So that's the education part. And you're comforted. Even if you don't get read, you see other people getting read, you're like, oh my gosh.
Right.
I can't believe that came up. It's funny. Believe me, the other side's very funny with the information they come through.
Funny information.
That's like the most thing. When you were sitting here, nothing came to you, right?
That's my next question. I was wondering, did anything happen between me, Rob Hix, and Sausage?
Well,
and Ted,
I always say, you're interviewing me. So my readings are very long. They're up to an hour, and that's.
I was just curious if someone said, "Hey, tell that fat bastard something," or.
Yeah.
I want to know if there's money in the wall somewhere.
Listen, that's your living family is telling you that tell that fat bastard to stop eating. Never mind about the dead. You don't need the dead to tell you to stop eating.
Exactly.
So we can see you in July at Uncle Vinny's Comedy Club, Point Pleasant, New Jersey.
Right.
And a Facebook page that we could come and get in more information about you.
Barbara Lee Psychic Medium.com. Barbara Lee Psychic Medium on Facebook.
Oh, do you have a website or no?
Well, I have a website that I need to get up and running again. I took it down for a period of time because it was overwhelmed. I was overwhelmed.
No problem.
You can also email me at barbaraleemedium@gmail.com.
Yeah, we'll put her information in the credits and the show and the stuff. And it's facebook.com/ Did you get the username? Is it / Barbara Lee?
Barbara Lee Psychic Medium is my business page.
Okay.
Barbara Lee's my personal page, which I don't use. I only use the business page.
Facebook.com/ Barbara Lee Psychic Medium, and they can contact you through Messenger or through. You have an email on there. How do they okay? So
Barbara Lee Medium.
And I think we should let listeners know, because we get hits from all over the world, actually. But
if anybody contacts her, we'd like you to let us know about your experience.
Yes, absolutely.
And we'll put.
And she's located in New Jersey. If you want to see it personally.
Yes.
Central New Jersey, yes.
Central Jersey.
So now you go to people's houses if they have to get a reading, or you?
There's different ways we do it, and that's what I discuss with them. I'm from.
We have a psychic party at my house. We'll have 20 people come over and have you come in.
Then I'll be dead at the end of the night.
All right, so just me and Sausage.
Gotta kill the medium.
No, it'll be called a sausage party. That's bad.
No, but you do things like that, groups and stuff. And
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
that seems like a fun thing.
Let's
But
do
I'm from
this.
the old
Mike.
school. You call me, we go over all the options. There's many different options, not just one,
Awesome. Okay.
right?
Awesome.
Wonderful. Totally wonderful.
It was great. It was
All right,
great.
Barbara.
It was our pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you,
very much.
Barbara.
Thank you,
Have a
Barbara.
great
Have
night.
a great night.
And we hope that some other people contact you and you get more overwhelmed.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.
You're a delight.
What do you think, Pease? How'd you like our guest tonight?
First of all, I love Barbara Lee. I think she's wonderful, and I can't wait to see what happens on this particular video. I think she's very clear and explained so many things. And I honestly, I'd love to bring her back. I could sit there and ask her so many
Yeah,
other
no problem. There's a lot of people we want to bring back around, so we'll get a whole different line of questions and directions. And this
I don't want different people. I want her.
Yeah, no, I understand. I'm just saying, it's more different people we like to bring back a second time. That's what we do a lot.
Yeah, she's very informative, and I think I get this innate feeling that she's the real deal. There's no bullshit here. I really feel that she's on the bunny. I've been around a lot of these people in my career as a comedian, magician, a ventriloquist, and mentalist and stuff, and I think she's on point.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so till next time, my friend.
Yes, I don't want to tell you who's coming on next week.
Oh, stop.
I got some fun guy.
All right.
It's fungi. It's a mushroom.
Okay. All right. We got enough
Thank
of
you,
this
Rob
now.
Hix. Thank you, Ted, for getting all our screencasts looking nice and
Yeah,
clean. And
thank
Ted
Ted.
and Rob Hix. Yep.
Yeah, and Rob Hix. He needs a new haircut. Bye-bye now.
Thanks for coming up, guys.